All right. Well, let's kick it off with Will in Indiana, who wants to talk a little bit about the barriers to sexuality because of size. Will, tell us what's on your mind tonight.
Well, I was just cooking dinner and I saw the topic and I knew I had to call in. I am 43 years old. I consider myself a demi-girl, and I am over 600 pounds, and I have been fighting weight my entire life. It's affected every facet of my life, particularly my relationships with the opposite sex, which I am feminine attracted.
Mm-hmm.
To the point where it's caused such a... let me put it this way. I remember being in high school and in the crunch of all the people walking through the hallways, right?
Mm-hmm.
Girls would shriek in revulsion that they touched me.
Mm-hmm.
And that has kind of stayed with me ever since.
Yeah.
And finding my weight as I have, it does cause a lot of, negative body image problems. And when I get into a relationship, a lot of times I'll get too comfortable in the relationship where my weight kind of spirals out of control a little bit, because, we like sitting around, being fat and happy together, but then the fat doesn't get so happy and it inevitably falls apart. Yeah. And I just kind of wanted to give, a unique perspective from a person that is, super obese. I have comorbidities that really prevent me from having, a normal sex life, because I have a hanging pannus or paniculus that covers my pubic bone. Mm-hmm. So I can't really, relate with any couple. And not to mention that, but I've also got this large, unattractive lobe of lymphedema in the lower right quadrant of my thigh. And I think, we really do talk about body positivity more and start trying to train, maybe not train, but I don't know, guide children and teenagers and such more to kind of be more kind, more accepting.
Yeah. I mean, to that end, do you feel at all that there's reason for hope right now? I guess on a macro level, you said that these are issues and ideas that have been with you your entire life. Do you feel like the culture is moving in the right direction?
Somewhat with movements like the Healthy at Every Size movement, because I mean, I can tell you, even though I am, getting up there in age and just by my standards, and with all the stuff that I've got going on with my body, I pretty much say I'm the healthiest fat guy you'd ever meet. And, I have no type 2 diabetes, no high blood pressure, no high cholesterol, no neuropathy to speak of, a little bit, but not terrible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and yet the assumption is that there is this huge medical concern, whereas plenty of other folks might be walking down the street very close to dying of lung cancer, of pancreatic cancer. I mean, all of these different kinds of things that are so invisible. But we put all of that stigma, I don't even want to say on the wrong people, because maybe we just shouldn't be stigmatizing people's bodies and their health. But there is a assumption that your size is going to be a determining factor in all of these things. And I don't mean to put words in your mouth, Willis, but it sounds like that hasn't been your experience.
Yeah, it's very true. Yeah, there are people who do assume things about you, when you are a certain size, or honestly, they assume more about your eating habits more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
I probably consume less than your average 40-year-old guy, a 40-something-year-old guy. And even through my teenagers, I know I consumed less than any of my friends did. And it's just that my my lifestyle was so sedentary, and I didn't have, the socioeconomic advantages that the rest of my friends did. And that's what, kind of caused this. I think where it all stemmed from was that I think I was too smart for my own good, not to toot my own. I mean, it sounds, like I'm tooting my own horn, but I'm really not. Like when normal kids would get up and do the monkey bars, right? They would, if they would fall, they'd get up, dust themselves off, say whatever, and do it again, right? No. When I got up and did the monkey bars and failed, I immediately associated my brain with failure, shame, and pain.
Sure.
And my brain just clicked over and said, well, clearly I'm never to do that ever again. And so I didn't.
So this isn't like some terrible moral failing, but a like larger issue of access and opportunity. And again, keep using this word, but culture.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah. Related to culture, and I am an espouser of the healthy at every size thing. But I think we've really got to radically alter the way we treat obesity, especially super obesity, because, you look at any other chronic disease like addiction or cancer or something like that, and it is aggressively treated with every facet of, medical technology. And yet, when you get to a super obese level, which can cause, as it is me, causing comorbidities that, are really hard and challenging to overcome. I mean, it becomes a Sisyphean task.
Yeah. You get a finger wag rather than, good medical care.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And if I could ever get to a weight where I can start getting more mobile again and get out and, maybe do some speaking or something like that, my mantra is always going to be, or my sting, at the end of each one of my, if I give a talk or something, I'm going to say that if we don't start aggressively treating super obesity, the only thing that is ever going to change is how much their loved ones bury.
I hear that. I'm sorry to hear about your experiences, but I really appreciate you giving us a call tonight. Was there anything else in particular that you wanted to make sure to let the audience know, or that you'd like to ask of us before we move on to the next call?
Maybe not for this call, but I'll probably call in sometime in the future.
Sure. Well, we would love to hear from you, and I really appreciate you being brave enough to give us a call and to share your story tonight.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
It was an honor to talk to you both.
Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yeah, so this is heavy material for a lot of people. This is a meaningful part of life.
Absolutely. And the fact that, he really hit the idea of like, we need to start this from a very young age because, when he was young, when I was young and we were bullied because of our size, it sticks with you for so long.
I hear that.
And so being able to, stop bullying and create better language and understanding from a young age and what that can do for a person, the people around them, and society in the long run is such a big thing.
Yeah, fair to say.